We're back again on the Coach T podcast show. I'm really excited about this guest. It's a guy that I met throughout my time in Rhode Island and New England and Massachusetts. He's a guy that is well known in that area for producing some of the best athletes in the area. Is a sports performance coach. He's a former player himself, someone that, has an extensive background. I'm going to obviously get a chance to run over some of his accolades, but a really great guy, well-respected, as I mentioned, and cares a lot about the athletes. So I'm excited to have Jim Bennett on the show from Next Generation Elite, as well as Total Athletic Performance.
Correct.
Obviously, we'll talk about that a little bit more, but just to give a background on Jim, he's a former college football player like myself. He's a former All-Star and captain at UMass Lowell from 1993 to 1996.
You're aging me right now.
Hey, man, every day is a good thing. Every day is a good day when you're on Earth. You're breathing, man. So that's a good thing. You're seasoned.
I like that.
Jim's a former minor league national champion, All-Star and captain. In 2010, Hall of Fame inductee for the New England Stars of the NFL. Is a certified personal trainer, certified speed and agility coach, has his bachelor's in exercise science, as well as child psychology and human behavior. That's pretty cool. Is certified in functional movement systems. Currently, he is the head strength and conditioning coach at St. Bernard Central Catholic High School. He's a partner and sports performance coach, as we mentioned, at Total Athletic Performance, also known as TAP. He's also the co-founder and performance coach at Next Generation Elite. And he's the director, co-director, and owner of Team NGE All-Star Football. That's a lot. That's good.
That's a lot. I'm busy.
That's good.
It's busy. Good. Idle hands, I need to be busy to keep myself on track.
Yeah,
good.
So where are you from?
I grew up in Somerville, Massachusetts, till I was 13 years old. That is next to Boston. It's connected to Boston. Used to be part of Boston a long time ago. And then moved to Medford, Massachusetts, the next town over, 8th grade all through high school. And so that's where I grew up. After high school, I went off to college, UMass Lowell for 4 years. And then after college, I moved out to Los Angeles for 4 years, where I worked in the film industry. Doing all kinds of stuff.
I forgot about that, man.
One of the coolest things was I was actually Johnny Depp's bodyguard during the filming of the movie Fear and Loathing in Las Vegas.
Oh, well, I thought you were going to say you were his twin or a stunt.
No.
Double, man.
He was about up to my chest. He's a little guy.
He's not very big at all. Yeah.
You know what? None of them are. They're all tiny.
Yeah. Yep.
They are.
Yep. They couldn't play sports, so they began acting.
Right.
Okay, cool. So Boston boy.
Boston boy, city boy.
Yep.
I joke that I didn't have a tree in my yard till I was 14. Fire escape in the back, next to the train tracks. But I wouldn't change where I grew up for anything in the world. It's made me who I am. Whether you're from the city, whether you're from the suburbs or whatever, always remember where you came from. I'm a city boy. I'll always be a city boy. I live on an acre of land right now, and now I have to mow grass and all that stuff.
That part of it.
I never had to do that before.
Yeah. So, which this time of the year, especially with everything going on, is probably pretty welcomed right now in terms of, let me get out of the house and let me cut some grass, let me do something different than being in the house.
Right. The hard part right now is I'm 4 weeks out of a shoulder surgery. I just had my labrum and my bicep fixed on my left arm. So I can't really do a lot of the stuff I want to be doing. So we're doing some hiring and bringing some professionals in.
Okay.
Because,
nice.
listen, if you can't do it, bring in a pro.
That's right. Hey, I'm sure a lot of parents say the same thing about you. Like, hey, I can't really teach my son or daughter exactly what I need to do. So let me bring in a pro like yourself.
Correct.
So let me ask.
Sure.
What led you down the road of being a sports performance coach? Obviously, you're a former player, and then you went to Hollywood, and you kind of did that thing.
I did a lot. I did a lot of things. Former, obviously I went to high school, college, a couple of years of semi-pro. When I got back from Los Angeles, then I had, a bunch of different jobs. I owned a construction company, trying to find my way. And I had a pretty bad, serious back injury where I ended up rupturing my L4, L5, L5S1 discs, 3 surgeries, spinal fusion, auto work, and time in my hands trying to figure out what do I want to do with my life and how can I be of service and have purpose, not just have a job, but have something that I'm passionate about and what I love. And obviously I grew up loving sports, but I also grew up poor. We didn't have a lot of money, and we didn't have a lot of training, and we didn't have, we just had Pop Warner practice, and we went home. And after my surgeries, I decided to go back to school. They told me I was fully disabled, and that I could maybe be a greeter at Walmart. And I was 30, early 30s, and didn't actually mid 30s, and wouldn't accept that as the truth. So I went back to school. I got my degree in exercise science. I rehabbed my back, and I got an internship at Total Athletic Performance. When I went in to interview for that, now I'm a 35-year-old going in as an intern, feeling a little weird, and the owner, who's now my business partner, said to me, "What's your 5-year plan?" I said, "I want to own the place in 5 years." And he kind of was taken back and kind of looked at me, and I think he wasn't sure where I was coming from.
So who's this guy?
Who's this guy? But to make a long story short, I bought in as a partner 4 years later.
Nice.
So
bet on yourself, man.
I was 35. I had a son on, coming on the way, and I needed to, instead of finding jobs, I needed to find a career. And helping athletes has always been what I wanted to do, but I've also worked with kids a lot. Growing up, I was a camp counselor, overnight summer camp that I started going to when I was 7 years old. I left there when I was 22, every summer, the whole summer.
Wow.
When I was 13, they started a leader in training program, which was like counselor in training, which helped me develop my leadership skills. By the time I was 17, 18, I was in charge of 300 campers and 70 staff from around the world.
Wow.
At 18 years old. And half of the stuff I did out there was sports and games, teaching and getting these kids to move and sweat and all that stuff, and then organizing. So it all kind of came back full circle when I decided to go back to school, and I said, all right, I want to work with athletes.
Yeah.
I don't want to be a personal trainer per se, where I'm working with just adults and things like that. I want to help these kids at an impressionable age and teach them how to train properly and how to eat properly and how to recover properly and how to be a good sport and how to be a good teammate and how to be a good son. And all that experience came from working at that camp. A lot of these kids, most of these kids were underprivileged kids from Boston, broken homes. And they, I was one of those kids and I became one of those counselors. And when I was a kid, I looked up to those counselors and they made a big impression on me, and I wanted to do the same. And I did that there, and then I went away from it, and then I came back to it. And now what I'm doing is basically I'm running a summer camp an hour at a time or an hour and a half at a time throughout the year.
Right, there you go.
That's what I'm doing. And it's about getting these kids motivated and having fun. And when they leave that training or whatever we're doing, in the car, it's all they talk about on the way home, and they can't wait to go back again.
Yeah.
And that right there is worth more than any paycheck that I can ever get. Anything. It doesn't matter how much money I make. If I can make an impact on one of these kids, if their parent messaged me and says, thank you, they're walking a little taller, their heads held
Confidence
high.
is key,
Their
man.
confidence is there. You know,
Yeah,
they're
you're
getting
building the
sleep.
person.
They can't wait to do it. They're doing push-ups at home now because they want to do more when they're with me.
Totally different kid.
Man, that stuff is just, that gets
Beautiful.
you right in the heart, right? You know what I mean?
Yep.
So make an impact. And how can I make an impact with something I love? So to come back full circle, I love sports. I love training athletes, and I love helping the next generation.
There
So
you
I
go.
pulled it all together
There
and
you
said,
go.
I'm going to be a sports
There you go.
performance coach.
You wake up every day and you love life, man.
I
You're doing
love
what you
life.
love.
It is the best, you know, you know, I know it's cliche, you know, if you love your job, if you don't work a day in your life. Now, I don't necessarily believe that because I work hard. I work hard every day, but I love it. So I consider it still work. I still work, but I love what I do. And I get up in the morning and I'm excited, and I get at home and I'm putting together my notes or my training for the next day. And every athlete's a little different, so it can't just be cookie cutter, you know. But I love that stuff, you know, and that's what drives my passion now.
Awesome, man. So tell me about it. You mentioned obviously Total Athletic Performance.
Yep.
You also have NGE. So tell me how those things work together, how they work separately.
Sure. It's a big question. It confuses a lot of people. So when I started at TAP, I was a Total Athletic Performance. I was an intern, and I didn't know if I was going to have a job when that internship ended.
Mm-hmm.
So in the meantime, I was coaching semi-pro football in the New England Football League. I was a defensive coordinator for the Lowell Nor'easter, and Bill Nash, who was my partner with NGE, we had been talking. He's a staple in the community.
Great guy, man.
Great guy. Been coaching for over 30 years, multiple sports, great with the kids, real good football mind.
Yep.
And so he said, you know, we decided let's sit down and have a conversation, figure out how we can combine our skills to help these kids. So with obviously I had a football background and coached a little bit, but Bill is a coach. You know, he's been coaching forever. He knows the technique of every position. He has that in him. And I don't. You know, I can coach up a linebacker. I was a quarterback in high school, option quarterback. We didn't really throw much, but so I can teach you how to take a handoff and snap the ball. But you know, I teach long snappers. But Bill can really get into the technique. So we sat down at a Dunkin' Donuts and decided that we wanted to combine something. Now, TAP, Total Athletic Performance, is a facility. It's in Acton, Massachusetts.
Yeah.
All athletes, all ages, all levels train there.
Right.
When I started there, it was mainly a hockey facility. Massachusetts, Boston area, very big hockey hub.
Big on hockey. Oh,
huge hockey hub, probably arguably one of the best in the country.
Yep.
So, and that was the head trainer there at the time who I trained under. His name's Carl Corazzini, former Boston University hockey player, former professional hockey player, played a couple games up in the NHL with the Boston Bruins. So I kind of interned under Carl. Right towards my end of my internship, Carl got the head coaching job at St. Mark's in Massachusetts. It's a private prep school, big money school. Kids are paying $60,000 a year to go to school there a year in high school. Insane. You know, from a kid that grew up in Somerville with a single mom and you know and no money to think that I'm working with kids that are paying $60,000 a year to go to high school baffles me a little bit. But so in the meantime, I didn't know if I was going to have a job at TAP, and I wanted to work with football players because of my background. So Bill and I decided to start Next Generationally Football Player Development, which was the original name, still kind of is the name, but we've paired off and we do work with other athletes. So the way I describe it now, NGE is my travel training, where I do camps, clinics, home calls, whatever I do, and TAP is the facility that I do my training. So sometimes I do NGE training at TAP. So that gets a little weird because I have partners in TAP and I have partners in NGE, but you know, let the accountants figure that out and go from there. But that's really the crux of it. NGE is the training outside of the facility. where we work, like I said, camps, clinics, speed camps,
Yeah.
outside of different locations, satellite locations. So I work at a lot of different high schools. I have relationships with certain athletic directors and football coaches where we will come in and use their facility to run our camps and clinics, let their athletes train during that time in exchange for rental fees. It's kind of, I'm kind of giving away my business model right now, but it works.
Yeah.
Everyone benefits. I'm not paying out of pocket, or I get a discount on a field rental, which you know as much as I know can be very pricey.
Can be very pricey, yes.
Right. But these athletic directors want to see, they want to help their athletes. So they can, you know, tell the finance people, hey, we're giving this away for nothing, but we have 20 football players or every athlete in the school that can go get this training for nothing, which would have cost them 3 times as much as what this field would have cost. Right. And then what I'm allowed to do is invite people that don't go to school.
Yep.
Right? And open it up to the public. So that's kind of, and that's not every business model, but that is a big part of how we got started.
Yeah. And that's you just being smart, you know, you adapting, you being creative. And, you know, with me knowing you throughout my time in New England, I know you to be a guy that number one, works hard. Then number two, you know, you work smart. So you do a really good job of staying organized, you know, working your tail off, making sure all your T's are crossed, all your I's are dotted. And, you know, it's good that you are thinking, okay, how can this benefit everyone?
Sure.
The athlete, the athletic director, the school, you know, and then making sure that you are able to, you know, do your training and everyone feels comfortable with it.
Well, that's how I got, you know, you mentioned that I'm the strength and conditioning coach at St. Bernard's in Fitchburg. Well, that came about because I ran a speed camp at their field. And through a parent that I've worked with for years, reached out to the head coach and said, hey, I got this guy who works with him. He's looking for a place. They provided the facility. I trained their athletes and invited other athletes out. And we did this one year. We did it again the next year. And then I went into the athletic director and I approached him and said, you need a strength and conditioning coach.
Yeah, you need it bad.
You need one bad. And they said, we can't afford one. I said, I have a solution. So we worked out a deal where I get facility rentals and fees at a discount. And I go in during different times of the year, depending on the season. And I go in and work with their students and athletes after school for an hour, hour and a half, 4 or 5 days a week.
Yeah, beautiful.
So now they have a strength conditioning coach, and I have a facility, indoor, outdoor facilities that are less than a half mile from my house.
Dude, that's so cool, man. And again, you're being creative with your time and your resources. And, you know, I totally agree that a lot of schools need some type of strength and conditioning or sports performance, whatever you want to call it. They need that type of coach. Every school
right? Needs one. I spend more time correcting bad form that was taught or not taught to somebody than actually teaching the right form. I have to correct a lot, especially when I get an athlete that's already in high school. Some of these high schools have very good programs or coaches that know what they're doing. But even if you have a linebacker coach that knows what he's doing in the gym, don't you want that linebacker coach worrying about his linebackers?
Exactly.
Right.
Exactly.
Let's bring in a professional, you know, and it doesn't have to be expensive because everyone can help each other out.
Exactly.
You know, I just don't see wasting a valuable coach's time sitting in a weight room watching people lift when they could be scheming and recruiting or whatever they're doing. And let me go in. This is what I do. It's like clockwork for me.
Yeah.
And to be honest with you, it almost doesn't matter what sport you play, and you can attest to this. Training is about 90% the same. It's the beginning, you know, someone has tight hamstrings or they have a bad ankle or they're a baseball player, so we're going to warm up their rotator cuffs. But the speed, agility, the strength, conditioning, the power, and explosion, every athlete, every sport doesn't matter. Conditioning is different.
Yep.
You know, my hockey players, 8 weeks out from the season, we're doing what we call shift drills, which they're going to run or do different activity, get their heart rate up for 45 seconds, and then they're going to go sit down and recover for a minute and a half, because that is the typical hockey shift.
Right.
Now, football players, obviously plays are different, but I say on average, 10 seconds of play, 30 to 40 seconds break. So that's how I condition my football players.
Mm-hmm.
Let's get them game ready as much as we can without actually being in the game.
Yeah, as much game-like conditioning
as much as we can, and that's multi-direction, right? That's just not straight sprinting. Because how often do you sprint 40 yards in a play?
Hey, man, look. I remember high school.
You were a receiver. You were a receiver, so probably more than other people.
No, I'm agreeing with you. Like, there were times when I was, as growing up, we would just run just to run. And none of it applied to what we actually were asked to do on the field. Yeah. And that always bugged me, man.
Yeah. I don't want to get off topic, and this is kind of where we're going, but one of my biggest gripes with youth and high school football coaches is having athletes take laps for messing up. I think that is the most counterproductive thing a football coach can do.
Exactly.
Right? They messed up because they don't know.
Right.
Why are you going to make them more tired just so you can have a 3-minute break and jog a lap to now teach them to run slow? I'm not a big fan of jogging for athletes. No. You want to jog a lap to warm up before you stretch? I'm okay with that. But to take constant laps at jogging, you're training yourself to run slow.
Yeah.
Why would you do that? Right? I want these kids to sprint. We can get our conditioning in sprinting, not jogging 5 laps for 20 minutes.
We see eye to eye.
I don't see it. It just doesn't translate onto the field for me. I have an athlete. Her name's Mallory Soliotis. She's a professional hockey player for the Boston Pride. Played 4 years at Yale. Mm-hmm. So one summer, this was when she was at Yale, the town of Acton has like a 10K run that they do every year. And she trained all summer just for that. Mm-hmm. And she killed it on that 10K. But when she got back to school, she was significantly slower than she was the year before.
It's the pace. She was used to a slower pace.
Slower pace.
Wow.
Right. You
would think that she would be obviously better shape. And,
her endurance was great, but she
the
was
speed
slow.
wasn't there.
She was slow.
Yeah.
So don't train slow. Train fast. That is a philosophy that obviously if we're gonna activate things like that, that's not really training. That's activation. Nice and slow control. But we want explosive movements. We want to sprint. We want to throw things hard.
Yeah.
We need explosive movements for these athletes.
Man, you getting me excited, man. Come on. I'm ready to work out.
You can see the passion,
I can. And I know the audience that, is going to listen to this or going to view this online, they're going to see and hear the passion that you have. And, for
you have that same passion, Coach. We've worked together.
Come on, man.
And it was a pleasure working with you. You don't often get times to work with a pro. And yes, you were a pro football player, but you're just a pro in life. So
there you go.
I want to thank you for
you can keep going. You can keep going.
Tall, dark, and handsome.
You know what I mean? You can keep going. So let me ask you this. This is a good spinoff. What is a common myth about sports performance that is not true?
I thought about this question, and what I think the biggest myth is, and I don't know if I'm answering this correctly, but I see a lot of people that will just go on and just think, they'll go on YouTube and they'll see a drill and they'll do it, which is fine. Mm-hmm. But the misconception is that that's all we do. We just put out a bunch of drills just to get them moving. Mm. And that is not the case. There is a methodical approach to everything I do. When am I going to do it? Why am I doing it? And how can I correct it if it's not right?
Yeah.
And that is my biggest issue with people that aren't professionals training young athletes. I get it. Dads, and I'm going to do it to my son, and you're going to do it to yours. Mm-hmm. And dads are going to train their kids. But don't discount what I do and think that you can do it because you played freshman football.
Right.
And I'm not trying to offend any dads here, but reach out.
It's the experience of it, man.
It's the experience. I am not a greedy person. If someone reaches out to me and with a film of their son that I've never worked with and said, what do you think of this? I'll try to break it down. I'll try to give as much advice as possible. I want to help these athletes. Whether it's going to benefit me or not, it's going to benefit these athletes.
Yeah.
But don't think that I'm just watching videos and doing drills out of order for no reason whatsoever. Like I said,
there's a rhyme and a reason to
everything. There's a rhyme and reason to everything, why we're doing it, how we're doing it, when we're doing it.
Yep.
You know, and so that, I don't know if I really answered the question. But
no, you did, man. You did, and I think that's something that goes unsaid, but you are 100% correct. Like, there are a lot of people out there, because let's be frank, there are a lot of coaches out there, quote unquote, right? The bad ones, they'll find videos, right?
Sure.
They'll see a Jim Bennett video and they'll try to take what you do and say, oh, I can do this. All I have to do is put the athlete through it. But like you said, you focus on the correction. You focus on making sure the athlete does it right, not just doing it.
Sure.
Right? There's a difference.
And the correction is either, hey, you're going to get hurt if your knee goes over your ankle, or you're going to benefit if you do it this way. You know, how is it going to hurt? This is going to hurt you, but if you do it this way, it'll actually benefit you. And then, so one of the most important things, especially I work with a lot of young athletes. You know, I just worked with 5, 7, 8, 9-year-olds today. Okay. So some of them are young, and it's teaching that long-term development, but teaching them how to do things properly. How do we stop properly so that we can re-accelerate? How can we stop to re-accelerate without putting ourselves in danger? You know, that is the biggest, you know, my job, number one job, keep them safe.
Keep them safe. Right. And those are things that stay with them, right? They learn it at an early age.
Correct.
You know, 5, 6, 7 years old, you kind of learn, hey, this is how I stop properly.
Yep.
Or this is how I, run correctly. These are the right mechanics. Like, they're learning those things, at a young age like that. By the time they get to high school, they're going to have a PhD in moving the correct way.
Correct. And, one of my philosophies is I want to be the coach I didn't have.
Yeah.
You know, and there weren't, I'm 44 years old. We didn't have sports performance coaches when I was 7, 8, 9 years old.
Yeah.
If we did, they were in California, working with pros.
Yeah.
They weren't working with 7, 8, 9-year-olds at the local park.
Yeah.
So I want to be that. I want to be that role model. I want to be that,
the resource for them.
That resource, that adult figure, that part of the village.
Mentor.
It takes a village. I have more parents that come up to me, and I love the parents that bring their kids to me because you can see they're invested. And not every one of them, some of them do, but not every one of them thinks their kid is going to go pro. Mm-hmm. Some of them do, and sometimes you have to tell them to pump the brakes a little bit.
Yeah.
And sometimes you have to say, listen, everyone has potential. They have to work hard and they have to be consistent.
Mm-hmm. All right, so you have, and I love this quote. You have a quote where you say, quote, "Are you willing to work for what others dream about?" Unquote.
Yeah.
Can you elaborate on that?
That's an original. I made that one up.
That's an OG quote right there.
It's an OG quote. and yeah, I can elaborate. Listen, there's a lot of talkers. There's a lot of dreamers. There's a lot of, I'm going to do this. I'm going to do that. I want to be this. I want to go to the NFL. I want to go to college. I want a scholarship.
Mm-hmm.
Are you willing to put the work in?
Right.
Because there's a lot of dreamers out there.
Right.
Are there
dreams are good.
Dreams are great, but work for it.
Yeah. Yeah.
There's a lot of talk. I don't like talkers. I like walkers.
Yeah. You know what? That reminds me of a quote that I hear. I only heard one person say this, and I want to take it, but he's a famous guy, Jalen Rose from ESPN, where he says the dictionary is the only place where dreams come before work.
Yes.
Right.
Like
so you need to. It's actually reverse in real life. You need to work to get to your dreams.
Right. Yep.
Right. So a lot of people, say certain things. They want to do this. They want to do that, which is fine. Right. We all have dreams. We all have aspirations. Now you need someone, like you said, you need a mentor. You need a resource. You need someone in the community like yourself that gives them the blueprint.
Sure.
Gives them the guideline. It lets them know, hey, like the work you're putting in, it's not enough.
I'd say you mentioned I have a degree in psychology, and I have a degree in exercise science. And I use my degree in psychology way more than I use my degree in exercise science.
Yeah.
On a daily basis.
Yeah.
Daily. If I'm working with 100 athletes a week, that's 100 personalities that 100 different motivations. Something drives these athletes, and it's different for every one of them. And it's my job to find out what their motivation is.
Yeah.
You know, some of it's glory, some of it's just beating their own record, some of it's beating their friend. So, you know, there's all kinds of different things. Some of it's just, you know, I just want to be healthy. But what is your motivation, and how can I harness that? How can I drive that? How can I challenge you to be the best you can? You know, and you said willing to work for what others dream about. We can have the same dream, but if I'm working and you're not, I have a better shot at making that dream.
That's right.
And you might not get that dream, right? But aim for the stars. Aim for it. Aim for that
only way to
dream.
get there is to work for it.
Work towards it, you know. I didn't know what my dream was, you know. I just kept working hard, and I think I found it. You know, I found what I'm supposed to be doing. And hard work and dedication, no matter what you do. Sports, life, school, work, family, relationships. You have to work hard.
You gotta work.
You know, you say, hey, I want to have the best wife in the world. I want to find my soulmate. You know, you're not going to find her sitting on your couch doing nothing.
No.
Right? You're not going to do it. You're not going to do it. So you have to get out there. You have to, whatever it is, I want this job. I want this promotion.
You got to put yourself out there.
You got to go get it. You got to
Yeah.
get that work. You got to show that whoever has the authority to give you that promotion has to see that you were the hardest worker in that room.
And I'm also a big believer that, you know, with work comes confidence. You know,
absolutely.
Here at the podcast, I have a quote where, you know, I say, you know, work over worry. The biggest point that I love about that quote is that, you know, you don't have to worry when you're working, right? And also, if you begin,
you don't have time to worry if you're working.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
You don't have time. You don't have time to worry when you're working, and when you're working, you get rid of the worry. So, you know, I think confidence plays a lot into, you know, your work and what you do, because I feel strongly that if a person they work diligently, they work day in and day out at something, when it actually comes time to, you know, test what they have, and you can't lie to yourself.
Nope. So you see
you
that
cannot fool yourself.
You see that. I see that. And I'm sure you see that in athletes. Athletes that maybe just can't get a technique or just can't get a drill. They can't do it. Then they finally get it. And then boom, it's like their eyes light up. They're walking taller. They're strutting back down to the start line.
You can't fake that, man.
You can't fake that, you know.
You can't give that to them either. They got to work for it.
So I like to have athletes compete against each other in training. I believe competition breeds greatness. Ask Coke and Pepsi. Neither one of them would be where they're at. Neither one of them would be where they're at without the other.
I like that. Yeah.
Right. So and it's tough right now with what's going on with COVID-19 and social distance training. To have more than one athlete list their family members, which I'm working with right now. I work with, you know, they're in the same house, they can train together. So the stopwatch is one of my best tools as a performance coach. If we're working on speed training, say that, you know, and we're doing 10-yard sprints, and I have that stopwatch, and they're doing it in 1.7 or wherever they're doing it in 2.9. What's your best? As they're up the line, what's your best time? All right, let's get 1 point less.
There you go. Yep.
Let's beat yourself. Let's work hard. If we need to recover a little longer, then we'll recover a little longer. But let's beat that.
That's where the competition lies, man, with yourself.
And if they can't compete against someone else, compete against yourself.
Yep. There you go. I love it. I love it, man. So what do you see yourself in your coaching career 5 years from now?
You know, I like the path I'm on right now. I mean, I own a facility. I think probably my next step would be a larger facility with multiple turf fields, full fields. That would probably be my big goal. Maybe 2 indoor fields, and outdoor field with a strength and conditioning facility. But as far as, you know, reaching my coaching, I enjoy where I'm at. I hear other coaches and like, I want to go coach the pros. Hey, that would be kind of cool to me. But you know what? I feel like I'd have more impact on these younger kids.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know what I mean? Let's get them when they're impressionable, right? I want to help create that greatness. I don't want to polish it.
Yeah.
And sometimes I do polish it. I've got some athletes that were phenomenal athletes way before they ever came to me.
Mm-hmm.
And I help polish and I help fix technique and things like that. But I can't take credit for anything they've done. What I can take credit for is having them wanting to come train with me because they're comfortable. Right? Are they comfortable pushing themselves to their limit in my presence with my coaching?
Yeah.
Right? At the level they're already at. I got some pro athletes. I got kids. I got kids that were 8th graders getting scholarship offers to Michigan as an 8th grader.
Wow.
It's insane. I didn't help that kid do anything.
Yeah.
But you know what? He chose to come train with me.
He believed in you.
He believed in me. So, that right there is great. And then some of these kids, when I can teach a kid that can't run at all, just flailing all over the place, and I can tighten him up, and all of a sudden, in a session, he looks 10 times better. Man, that's worth more than, working with a pro every day. And don't get me wrong, I would love to do some work with the pros. And I've worked with college athletes. But I feel like my impact is larger on these younger athletes, these middle school, junior high, high school athletes where, I'm sorry, I keep hitting that table. How can I help propel them to the next level?
Yeah.
So
And you know what? Like I said, man, I do my research and I was in the area for a good amount of time, and anyone that I know that worked with you, players, families, and I put a lot of stock in what the players say, right? The athletes say, because they're in it day in and day out. And every athlete that I ran into that had you as a coach, I mean, they couldn't stop talking about you. Couldn't stop talking about, the work that you do and the confidence that you instilled in them. And, you've been a stickler on technique, which is something that I'm big on. So keep working, man, keep going. And, you're changing lives. Right. And,
I appreciate it. I appreciate it. That's, it's all we can ask for, right? How can we make an impact? How can we help? And that's how Bill and I came up with the name Next Generation Elite.
Mm-hmm.
How this is the next year. Who are we working with? We're working on the next generation. What do we want to make them? We want to make them elite.
Our time's up, man.
My time was up a long time ago. It hurts to get out of bed sometimes, right? But let me pass this knowledge on. I want these athletes to be a better athlete than I ever was.
Yep. You want them to have that coach you never had, man.
I want to be the coach I never had, and I want them to be the athlete I never was. I was an okay athlete. Division II football linebacker.
Mm-hmm.
I had fun in college, but if I had had a performance coach and some guidance, who knows where I could have been.
Right.
Who knows? And I don't like to live in the past of coulda, shoulda, woulda. I take my past experience and I help inform my future.
Yep.
No matter what it was, good, bad, and different. So I wouldn't change anything for the world, but I want to help these kids get further than I ever got.
Yeah, beautiful, man. Beautiful. Let's get into a rapid fire segment.
Okay, all right.
So what I like to do, switch things up, get a chance for the audience to
do you switch the questions up, or is it the same question?
I switch them up, man.
Okay, good. All right.
I switch them up. I make sure I switch them up because some are the same, but a great majority of them are switch ups. So
all right, cool.
You have 10 seconds only to answer. All right.
Each question.
Each question.
Okay.
That's it. Each one. I should only did 5 seconds, but
I'll try to be quicker than 10.
Okay, good. Okay, number 1. You can only choose one athletic trait. Would you rather have strength or speed?
Speed.
Okay.
Speed.
Nice. What's your favorite food or cuisine?
Steak.
Oh yeah.
I want a
steak and
ribeye,
potatoes.
Steak and potatoes, some some asparagus, some
Yeah,
grilled
there you go.
asparagus.
Yeah,
But I
there you
want a
go.
ribeye with marbling and juicy. That's what I want.
Yeah, a little red wine or what?
Yeah, I'll take some red wine or an IPA beer, maybe.
There you go. You're gonna sleep good that night, man.
Yep.
All right, this is one that I always ask
Okay.
every guest. On a scale of 1 to 10, 10 being the highest, how weird are you?
I'm a 7. I can
7.
get weird.
People normally get. I had a coach answer. He said he's 8-point weird.
8-point
So,
weird.
he's 8-point weird.
That was a weird answer, so he's right.
He's probably a 10 then, right?
Probably 10.
He's a good guy, man. But
Underestimate
7,
yourself, coach.
right.
How weird are you?
Depends on the day, man.
Right? Yeah, depends on the situation.
Yeah, I'm probably solid 9.
All right.
Solid 9, man. Weird in a good way. I would like to say.
Oh yeah, of course.
I like to try to be memorable, however I can. So
fair enough.
okay, if you had a boat, what would you name that boat?
The money pit.
The money pit.
The money pit.
Nice. This is where your money went.
Holes in the water that you dump money in.
Yeah.
That's all you do. You just dump money into that boat, and you never get it back.
Why did I get this? Why did I get this?
What? But if I was to get a boat, I think it would be a pontoon boat.
Pontoon. Okay.
Yeah, you know those big. They got the tubes on the side, and you can grill on them, and some of them you can go fast enough. You can water ski off the back. So I like one that you can kind of congregate and sit around and not just be stuck in a seat. You can kind of move around.
Right. And for people out there that do not know, New England has, I mean, it's scenic, man. It has a lot of different terrains, but also a lot of bodies of water around there.
Oceans, lakes, all kinds of stuff. Yeah. My new mission is I want a lake house. So my wife keeps rolling her eyes, but I want that's my maybe that's
5 years.
Maybe that's my 5
That's your
years.
5 years.
I want a house on a lake that I can boat and swim in the summer and ice skate. And I've never ice fished, but if I lived in a lake, I probably would.
You have to do it, right?
I have to do it, right?
Yeah, just make sure you get an invite from me, man.
Definitely, absolutely.
If you don't, I'm still going to show up. That's how weird I am.
Bring the coach at 2.8.
Right. There you go. Right. What's the most useless talent that you have?
I just did it today. I can spin a football with my feet, so it spins like a top, and then kick it through a field goal post.
Dude, that's a good talent.
It's a good talent, but it's useless.
Yeah.
You can't do anything with it except impress 10-year-olds. That's
cool. Yeah. That's cool. You know what? I played basketball my entire life. Another sport I played. I can never spin the ball on my finger.
No.
So the fact that you could spin a football on your foot or toe.
Well, no. So I don't spin it on my toe. I put my foot on one. No. I put one foot on the ball. I kick it with the other, and then it spins. It spins on the ground like a top, and then I kick it.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Still impressive.
It should be worth 4 points, not 3.
There you go.
Yeah, right? Maybe we can help boost the NFL ratings out.
I'm going to call Goodell, man. Maybe he can implement that, and then you could be hired. You can be hired.
It could be my pro
44-year-old rookie.
Laces out, Dan.
Cool, man. All right.
That wasn't very rapid fire.
I know.
All right, let's go.
But people can, they get to see who you are. So that's the cool part. Hopefully this one will not get you in trouble. What celebrity would you rate a perfect 10?
Ooh. J-Lo.
I know. Still has it, man.
Still has it.
You know, the great thing about J-Lo is that even my wife, she's like, man, she's hot. So I don't get in trouble. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah, J-Lo's great, man.
We're not 18. I'm sure our wives aren't that jealous anymore that we can't.
Yeah.
Listen, Thor was on my TV the other day. I saw my wife take a couple extra peeks. So
right,
it is what it is.
They have theirs, we have ours, man.
Yeah, it is what it is.
Who's the better player, Jordan or LeBron?
Jordan. Maybe I'm showing my age, but I've been watching that documentary, and I remember growing up watching Jordan.
It's hard to go against Jordan.
It's hard to go against Jordan. Listen, LeBron's a great athlete. He's a big boy. He's a tight end playing basketball. But if money on the line, last shot, last play, ball's going to Jordan.
Okay. I like that. Okay.
And then he just said that, and I loved it. He walked by, it was showing that documentary, it was like episode 4. He walked by, I think it was Rashad, what's his name, the sportscaster there?
Ahmad Rashad.
He turns to Jordan and says, who takes the last shot? It was the dream team. And Jordan looks at him, he's like, me. Like,
yeah.
You're even asking that question?
Yeah.
I love that.
Yeah.
That confidence that I want the ball. How many times LeBron passed that ball off when he should have taken
I love LeBron too, man.
I like LeBron. I'm not going to do
that.
But I've seen him pass that ball off and not take that shot.
It's a team sport, man. You got to.
Yeah, but you got that superstar. You want that dagger. You want that guy that takes that shot.
I understand.
So I read a book. It's called Relentless. The trainer, I can't think of his name right now.
Tim Grover.
Yes.
Jordan's. Yep.
Yes, Jordan, Kobe, Baby Tiger.
Yeah.
Yeah, man, I'm reading that book, and just the mentality of these guys, relentless. And they talk about cleaners, closers, and something else. I can't. It's in my right now, and I'm kind of in the middle right now. Because the one at the end doesn't care, which was Jordan. They don't care what people think. They don't care about anything. They want the next one. Part of me still cares. The human in me still cares if people,
That's what makes these guys different, man.
That makes, and I don't know if I have that to get all the way there because I still want to be able to care a little bit. But that drive, that relentless, I guess is the name of the book, relentless, but just that we're going to win. I'm going to do whatever it takes.
No matter what.
No feelings involved. If your feelings are hurt, walk away.
Strictly business, baby.
Business right now.
Strictly business.
Obviously I can't have that mentality with, young athletes, but I love that mentality.
Yeah, I love it. You're right, man. You're right. If you had one plane ticket to go anywhere in the world, where would you go?
Fiji.
Nice.
Yeah, I want to. I want to go. I mean it, but I want to go. Those huts that are in the water, like you sleep in the house.
Yes.
I think that was the first place I ever saw had them, and that's where I want to go.
You can get on your pontoon boat.
Yes, my pontoon boat. I can grill some steaks.
Yeah. Like I'm never going back. I'm never going back.
I'll be doing a lot of Zoom trainings from people.
There you go. Right. If you had any superhero power, what would it be?
Mental telepathy. I want to be able to read the mind.
Read the mind. There you go.
Read the mind.
I
try to read the mind anyway. I try to read the mind. I try to.
That's where your psychology degree comes in.
It is. I try to figure out what people are thinking and what their motives are. So a glimpse.
Professor
not be able to do it all the time, but be able to turn it on when I want. Not hear everything. I don't want to hear just random chatter in people's brains. But if I can't figure out what someone's thinking or what their motives are, I want to be able to tap into that.
Yeah. As a coach, that would be.
Some people are good at hiding their motives. So,
they are. They are. And as a coach, that would honestly probably be the best asset to have. Be able to read minds.
Yeah. Right?
See what your athlete's thinking.
Or read the other coach's mind and find out what he's
There you go. Oh, I know this play. I know the play's about to come up.
I know what he's got. I got the perfect defense for this.
Right. This is a good one. What's one body part you would not mind losing?
All right. I'm going to have to say my arm because
your arm?
I've been working 4 weeks without one, and I'm managing.
Okay.
So I've never really lost another part. So right now I'm gonna have to say if I never got my arm back, it wouldn't be great, but I could probably manage.
You could make it work. Yeah.
My left arm, not my right arm. I'm my right.
Yeah. You're right. Okay. What is something that you are afraid of?
Failure. I'm afraid of failure.
Good one. Yeah.
And that's what drives me. NGE. We run a lot of big camps. Clinics, tryouts.
Yes,
we have an all-star team, and every time I do one, I stress about, are we going to get enough people to sign up for this? And that fear of failure makes me work harder to make sure that enough athletes go there, that my coaches can get paid, The school that I can pay the expenses, and maybe myself and my partner can make a little bit of money.
Yep.
But that fear of people saying, "Hey, NG, you were in a camp and no one showed up," right? That's fear.
That.
That's true fear in me. And,
it is.
And it's real. But fear is okay. Fear drives a lot of things. You know, I got
fear can be a good thing.
Yeah, fear can be a good thing. You know, we're doing these things. I don't know if you ever used them before, but they're called overruns. And basically, I attach a belt to an athlete.
Make them go faster.
And I put bungees, hook it on. I strap 3 of those long bungees on. And I go 20 yards away, and we go, and they launch, right? And we're teaching them to cycle faster. But they're cycling faster because they're afraid to fall. They're afraid they're going to fall in their face. But you know what? In that fear, they're learning, and their body is learning to move their feet faster than they normally would. You know, so fear is a factor. Whether it's that or it's fear of losing the game. So I'm going to work harder. I'm going to prepare harder because I don't want to lose this game. I don't want to be embarrassed. I don't want to. I don't want to run promote this thing that I'm telling thousands of people about, and then nobody show up, because then that's a reflection on me and my company. So fear is real. You know, people, don't fear anything. No, you can use fear, but you got to harness it.
Yep. You got to harness it. Right.
Harness it. Channel it. Harness it to don't make it. It shouldn't debilitate you. It shouldn't stop you from doing. It should motivate you to do something to stop whatever you're afraid of.
There you go. That's beautiful, man.
Yeah.
All right. Lastly, what's the most precious thing in your life?
My family, my son.
There you go. Yeah. There you
go. Life changing. We talked about this before we started. My son's 5 years old. I have the best wife in the world that supports what I do. I have crazy hours. I don't, I don't have a 9 to 5 where I get up, go to work, come back. I'm working Saturdays. I'm working nights. I'm going to Ohio to the Pro Football Hall of Fame for tournaments. I'm doing all kinds of stuff. Orlando, because I have athletes playing in the All-American game. She supports it. And then my son, who is my motivation for everything. He is the reason why I get up in the morning and try to grow NGE and try to grow TAP and try to, help my athletes, because I'm building this for him. I'm trying to build a legacy so that if he wants to take over someday. I know he's only 5, so he's got a lot, but he is a coach at heart. He's been with me doing this since he was born. Excuse me. And then sometimes he'll take over. He'll be with me. He's with me a lot at work. He comes to me with TAP. He's kind of like the mascot. But at 5 years old, he can tell an athlete that he's not doing something right.
Wow.
He knows. He knows. Or he'll stand there and go, all right, I'm going to do it. Go. Like knowing the timing and stuff like that. And at first, I'm sure there was a couple of people that like, why is this little kid around? But I think it helps some of these parents feel like they can trust me a little more. Yeah. They see that I'm a dad. They see I'm a dad. They see that I care for something. You know what I mean? We tell our kids, if you're ever lost, find a mom, right? That's what I tell my son. You're ever lost, you can't find me, find a mom. Or someone with a little kid, right? Because you kind of say, okay, they have to have some sort of stability and trust and whatever. There's something in them. Something in them to care for this child. You know. So my son.
That's beautiful. Wife, I'll be coming for you or to you for advice, man. My wife's a few weeks away, so.
Is it a few weeks?
From our first.
My number one advice is obviously during labor, be there for your wife. Whatever she needs. If she needs a pink elephant, you go find a pink elephant as fast as you can, right? But she's gonna be tired. After this, but just enjoy every second of it. I can't forget it, man. 2020 is a unique year. It's a unique year, and I found out that your son is due on my birthday. So it's got to be worth something, right? Yes. But you got to have a Gemini son, right? Yeah. For those out there, Geminis, we got multiple. We're twins. We got multiple personalities, so you got to catch us on the right day. Surprisingly enough, to that point, I think my wife has mentioned that she would be okay if she was a little bit
late. Just to get away from the Gemini.
From the Gemini. Okay, I see. You got some bad reputations over
Yeah, for those out there that do not know, my son, he is my first son, my first child. He is due June 19th, which is also Coach Bennett's birthday. So
that's right.
So, wish us luck. All right, man. So anyone that is, interested more in finding out more about you, Coach Bennett,
Sure.
NGE, TAP, where can they find you?
We're on all social media platforms. You can look us up
Mm-hmm.
at Next Generation Elite,
Mm-hmm.
Coach Jim Bennett, or Total Athletic Performance.
Yeah.
You go on
He's
social
on
media.
there. He's on there. You guys are active in a good way, man.
Yeah, probably too much, but
never too much, man. Never too much.
Always try to keep it positive. Try to promote
Yes.
our athletes as much as possible. It's
Mm-hmm.
not really about our coaches at NGE or TAP. I like to make it about the athletes.
Yep.
They're
you
the superstars. If you go online, you go on, you see these YouTubers, these trainers. Some of these guys are more about themselves.
It's about the players, about the athletes, about the families.
The players and development, families, and relationships. One of the biggest things I say and how I believe that I've become successful is relationships and results. Right? We form relationships, and once we form those relationships, we can develop results.
Mm-hmm.
Right? And if we develop results, we keep those relationships and develop more.
Yeah.
Every time I go to a game, and that's what I do. I go to my athletes' games, which is, you had asked a question. One of the things was, what made me choose sports performance over being a sports coach, like a football coach. And I've done that. I've been a football coach. But if I was a football coach, I would never be able to see my athletes that aren't on my team perform. And
that's correct.
And I want to see the fruits of their labor.
Yep.
Out on the field.
Yep.
I want to see them. And if I'm stuck, also, and I really wouldn't be able to be a football coach with my schedule because I'm training athletes that aren't football players as well. So during those time where my time would be held up in practice and preparing.
Yeah, you would have to give it up.
I would have to give up what I love of training these athletes that aren't football players because it doesn't, I don't care what sport you play. I work with archers and cheerleaders and hockey players and male and female and MMA guys. I want to be able to see that stuff and not be stuck to one.
And show that support, man.
Yeah, I'm going to show that support. Now, I'm a strength and conditioning coach for a high school football team, so high school that has a football team. So I go see them probably more often than other people, but I don't go to every game. I have to go to other games.
Yes,
but I enjoy that so I enjoy seeing them perform, but the selfish part of it is every time I go to a game, I'm probably introduced to another parent.
Yep. Because a lot of coaches wouldn't do that. A lot of coaches would not, go see their athletes, and you show the support by actually going to see them, taking time out of your day when they're not paying you, right?
Yeah. Oh yeah, no, I'm not getting paid for that at all. But
exactly.
When I show up to these games and these kids or these parents see me show up, the look in their face and they realize that I'm not just in it for the money.
Yeah.
Because if you're in this business for the money, you're going to get out pretty quick because you're not going to make any money at first. Mm-hmm. It takes a long time to actually make a living at this.
Yep.
And if you are in it for the money, and if the people that are in it for the money don't last long because they have to find other stuff to do because it's not paying the bills. Mm-hmm. Now, once you stick with it, willing to work for what others dream about, right? That's when then the benefits come.
Yeah.
But it's hard work, dedication, and consistency.
Yeah.
And if I did it for the money, I would have been out a long time ago. Don't get me wrong. It's it's a career now, and I'm doing okay.
It is a business. I tell people all the time.
It is definitely a business, but it took me 5 years to really consider it a business. It was almost a hobby until then.
Yeah.
And it had to be a labor of love because I wasn't eating steaks off of that money.
Right.
So, but that's where it's at. It's a labor of love. It's I wouldn't want to be doing anything else. And the fact that I get to make an impact every day is what makes it all work.
Yeah. Well, there you go, man. There you have it. Before we go, I want to make sure people that are interested in coming to see you at TAP, right? What's the address? Where can they also find that information?
Sure. So you can go on totalathleticperformance.com. Total Athletic Performance on social media. We are at 53 Knox Trail, Acton, Massachusetts. And then Next Generation Elite, we don't really have an address. Like I said, we're kind of a traveling.
Right.
We have multiple satellite locations that we work at. But yeah, Next Generation Elite, NGEfootball.com, TotalAthleticPerformance.com, and Coach Jim Bennett. You could find all of that stuff there.
Find him, man. Go on social media, go online.
Yeah, and reach out if anyone's listening to this. They have a question. Just want to say hi. Please reach out. I accept all friend requests unless you're a uniform manufacturer, which I get.
Oh my gosh. Oh
man, I get like 30 requests from Punjab, India.
Yes.
Every day.
Yes.
Because they want to sell me uniforms.
Yes.
It's crazy.
If you know, you know. And I understand.
So yeah.
So this is cool, man. Well, thank you again.
My pleasure.
You know, I know the audience, people out there, they'll be able to see your passion, right? You're very passionate. You're someone that loves what they do. And I know the athletes that you work with, they benefit greatly by your passion and your work ethic and what you do, man. And you make sports performance coaches in that space, in that business, you make us proud by the way you do things. So
I appreciate
thank you again. I appreciate it. And we'll have to do this again soon.
Definitely. Thank you, Coach. It's been a pleasure. But we also have to, we'll talk a little later because you're going to come on my radio show.
Yes. So, I'll come on your radio show. Actually, can you drop the name for them?
Yeah, I'll drop it right now. So it's the Next Generation Elite Scholastic Sports Zone radio show. Mm-hmm. We're local here in Fitchburg, Massachusetts. Throughout central Massachusetts, we talk about high school sports, training, and anything else under the sun. But you can find us. We're Sundays from 11 to 12 a.m. Eastern Standard Time at WPKZstream.com.
Can you repeat that one more time?
WPKZstream.com.
Nice. Awesome. There you go.
Coach, thank you so much.
Thank you. Be good, man. Tell your family I said hello. You guys stay safe. Hope everyone's doing well, and we'll do this again soon, man. Thank you.
All right, Coach. Good talking to you.
All right, buddy.